Okay, so I ended the last video and then uploaded it and kind of clicked through it, and something felt kind of off because it felt like I was missing cards. And yeah, I realized I did. There was another box that had a bunch of stuff that I had brought to the last show that wasn't included. So I'm gonna do kind of a twofer here. Also, just because like I'm kind of at the stage of the morning or the day. It's 9:40 right now, and I filmed the other one at 5, and I'm just trying to make it through the rest of the day just to fix my sleep schedule. So right now my I'm just pretty non-functional right now, and maybe the only thing I can do is just stay kind of stationary and try to power through the rest of the day. So might as well just do something that feels pretty easy, which is just talking through the rest of the cards, and then um, just complete the kind of back to back with a recap of East Bay, and I'll do a readout of the sales. So I'll go through the rest of some of the stuff that was purchased at the show. It is priced out to reflect, um, you know, the prices when they're brought to the show, but these were also part of the entire pile of cards that are still here. So, some pretty obvious stuff. Scream cards, just always good to have. Prime example of making an expensive card a little bit more accessible. These Team Magma, Team Aqua cards are great at any condition. So these are obviously pretty messed up, but to get a light play near mint copy as well. So you can see the back here. They're also not really ordered too well, but these cards among a couple of my favorite of all time. Huge swirl, PSA 10, very expensive, still looks amazing in a binder at every condition. This I was really excited about, took a flyer on it on Mercari, got it shipped to the other place, and got a really good deal on it. So very happy about this one. I feel like I'm like, if it doesn't sell, I'll keep it for myself. Everyone, or at least those who know how I feel about this card. Another one of these. Gold Star Mewtwo, played condition. Misty. Found this in Hachioji, had to pick it up. Back's not too bad either. Found this at 50% off. I had a book off, and then that's it. So that was real quick. And then also at the end of the last video, it does cut off. So did buy that, and then might as well go through the rest of these that got cut off in the last video. For some reason, what the camera does is that, like, at close to an hour, it ends the file and then starts up a new one. And I can't be bothered to stitch videos together yet, at least. So this is just kind of the tail end of those piles from the last one, and it's really just more of the same stuff. These were from the Hallelujah stack, and then these EVs in the last video I spoke about just missing out at a price point I should have bought them at, and then finally decided to bite the bullet on them, but those will be good to have. Gotta sleeve those up later. And what else? I think that's about it. So go ahead and switch to the talking version of myself. Hello, I'm tired. We'll go and move the mic to a graded card. doesn't feel like I'm gonna break the mic holder if I use a CGC slab. Let's use one of these. That's better. Okay, so just gonna do a readout of the eSpace sale. Share some thoughts. It was a 1-day show in Burlingame, and I was looking forward to this one just primarily because it was my first show in a minute. Obviously, I've been away for a bit. My first show since the Vegas Front Row Card Show. And I think the turnaround time between getting back into the country and this show, usually a day and a half is like good for me to get like reacclimated, get my stuff together, update some pricing, and just kind of like go through the typical motions that I do, like, between transit and jumping into a show. This time, for some reason, I couldn't do it. Like getting home, usually I try to get through the rest of the day from like the afternoon to nighttime and just crash and have a full night of sleep, and then I'm readjusted. This time, could not do it. Slept almost as soon as I got home, and was just kind of dragging my feet mostly through Thursday, and going through a lot of the cards throughout Friday was a mixture of show prep, but also pulling things out to either grade, just getting into the workflow of just sorting through all the cards and kind of jumping a few steps ahead, but getting into a good flow related to what I was doing at the time, which was in the last video, this stack. Spent a few hours going through those and just separating them and prepping them for grading, and just getting a good quality amount of time working on that. But the other side of the actual show prep, time sensitive thing, suffering related to it. So I was pricing things the morning of the show. I forgot an ETB full of already priced cards to put into a case. Ended up not being a problem, but whenever you forget like a full box of cards, you have to you can't just go back home and get it. You just have to figure out how to make do for the rest of the day. And it ended up working out really well. I brought a bunch of PSA 9 Nagabas evolutions, and I was just gonna set up like one basic row of each one priced out. But because I had the extra case space, I decided like, fuck it, I'm just gonna fill the whole case with it, and it'll look pretty cool and it'll like catch some eyes. So I had 1.5 tables for the show, 4 cases, turn them vertically just to maximize space. The kind of mini section for us was 5 or 6 tables, and just the usual people that I ven with, just my friends. And then what's one of my favorite things about, probably the best thing about local shows, is that it's just this, you get the same cast of characters, vendor friends, acquaintances. It's kind of like, the analogy I like to make is that it's kind of like high school, where you see a lot of the same faces, and they're not really your friends. They're people you know, but you're very cordial with, but you strike up like some good small talk with them, and it's always nice to see them and check in with them. And then you also have your circle of friends, and that's kind of replicated across every single group. So you kind of have like your mini cliques, I guess, and that's kind of like a way to like build community within our space. And I think the local shows are kind of like a safe haven for those kinds of interactions, rather than going to a Collecticon and everybody's like so hyped up on like trying to get the best prices or print on each other and whatnot. So that was really cool to see a lot of familiar faces, and a lot of people that I do consider friends that I haven't seen in a while, and checking in with everybody. So that was just kind of like the morning. And at that point, because I had forgotten one of the boxes at home with a bunch of stuff that was priced out, uh, I just didn't, and the vibes were like pretty good. I didn't feel like working the rest of the day. So I kind of just coasted, and I did price stuff out throughout the morning, but I was just kind of set on doing like 2K for the day and calling it, and just kind of putting my feet up the rest of the day. Fortunately, that didn't happen. Things went better than expected. The crowds were insane. Anybody who vended that show would say the same thing. Shoulder to shoulder most of the day. Like all the way up until like the last hour, it was crazy. I heard people had to get turned away at the door without a ticket. The line going out the door. A mass of people exiting the venue to move their cars due to like lack of parking. But overall, just foot traffic was top notch. It's the kind of foot traffic where it's like I don't have to travel to get in an insane crowd of people at my table. I can just stay locally, and whenever that's the case, that's like a really good sign of like local health amongst the buyer and seller base. And you can attribute some of that obviously to the booming, but yeah, it was just a really, really, really good day with regards to the crowd. And that's all you can really ask for. After that, it's like up to you and what you bring. So for me, forgetting stuff, you kind of shoot yourself in the foot, but things ended up working out. So let's jump into the sales. I sold 4 copies of the Detective Pikachu sealed for $160, a raw Eevee Scream for $350, a sealed Nagaba Pikachu for $45, a raw Mega Tokyo Pikachu, the half art poncho for $160, sold another copy for $160, a Shining Mew, the Koto Koto promo for $220, Altomeris Latios or Latias, I didn't mark it, just as Altomeris, but it's one of the two, for $120. That's probably a medium play minus copy. Next, I did a trade. I did a raw Munch Psyduck and a raw Munch Rowlet for $460 cash plus 2 cards in trade. 2 raw cards that I'll be grading. A raw Nagaba Pikachu for $45. Another raw Nagaba Pikachu for $50. A Greens Exploration PSA 8 for $235. A raw Crossing the Runes Umbreon, the rookie. Is it the rookie or did the Neo promo come after? But the OG Moonbreon for $115. Another Kodo Mew for $120. That's going to be a heavy played copy. Another Kodo Mew for $170. And then a sequential PSA 10 set of the Pikachu Cramorant Beauty Looking Back Japan Post stamp promo. The nice art ones. Sold a sequential PSA 10 set for $900. Sold a raw Snap Pikachu for $50. That's the budget one, obviously, not the hundreds of thousands of dollar one. Sold a PSA 9 Umbreon Nagaba for $70. A PSA 9 Nagaba Eevee for $50. A raw Nagaba Pikachu for $50. Another Kodo Mew raw for $150. That's going to be probably closer to medium play. A Nagaba Espeon PSA 9 for $50. A PSA 10 Cramorant promo, the Beauty Looking Back for $225. That's just a standalone, wasn't the set. Sold another Altomeris Latias raw for $125. Another raw Kodo Mew for $130. That's going to be heavier play. Altomeris Latios for $160. PSA 10 Scream Rowlet for $470. Game Boy Dragonite for $50. That's raw. That's probably like LP. A Kodo Mew raw for $250. That's going to be closer to near mint. So a lot of times some of the common questions I ask are the conditions on the Kodo Mews, and this goes for all of my raw cards, especially when I have multiple copies at multiple price points, and the price points obviously going to be lined up with the condition of the card. And I give some rough guidelines on what to expect for price along with the card. And at the end of the day, I just tell people to make a judgment based off of them looking at the card. And my definition of a condition may be different from somebody else's. So I always encourage people to take a look and make a decision for themselves. Next, a raw Latias Altomeris for 200. And then I sold 2 PSA 9 sets of the Nagaba EV promos for 400 each. Next is another sequential PSA 10 stamp box promo, the Pikachu and Cramorant for 900. And then next I can't read my handwriting here. I think that's just the cert number. Those are the cert numbers. Okay, and then I think coming up close to the end here, we have a PSA 9 Sylveon Nagaba for 45, and then another raw Mega Tokyo Pikachu for 150. So in total sales, that would be, I think I added it up last night. It came out to about 72.15 or 72.55, and that like more than exceeded my expectations for the day, given like not bringing a full box of raw cards. And this was just like, it was almost a throwaway show for me, just given how like tired I was. But all things considered, like with the crowd and amount of sales for this 1 day show, like could not be happier with the results. And out of the 4 cases, I only had 1 case of graded cards, and the rest were, well, actually 2 with the raw Nagabas. So I guess like average, if I have 4 cases at a show lately from the end of last year to now, I usually split it like 2 and 2. But today the plan was supposed to be 3 cases of raw cards and 1 of graded. Didn't work out that way, but you kind of get the idea. So overall, very, very happy with how the show went. In terms of just like sales, a lot of the same stuff really, like that moves at other shows. I think it's 2 parts, like having stuff that other tables don't have. Like I don't sell Ultra Modern. I don't have sealed. I don't have a binder out. Like I just have the cards that I personally have really, really enjoyed, and cards that align with my, I guess, core idea that I tend to repeat around making really, really expensive cards a little bit more accessible, and finding this balance between cards that are recognizable but just a little different from what everybody kind of knows traditionally. And there are a bunch of other cards in the case that, especially the ones that I showed, that didn't sell, and that's totally fine. I think just having that variety gives people other things to look at. So just kind of doing my thing, doing the same thing that has worked at other shows. And as I approach the shows throughout the next 2 months, just having the stuff available will be huge as well. So that's why I wasn't too concerned if stuff didn't sell, because it just means I have it for the next show and the show after. So like going up until the end of March, I have LA CollectCon 5 shows. So if you have 5 shows and almost back-to-back weekends, stuff has to be priced out already. Stuff has to be available, especially if I'm running like 2 tables at every show, with one being CollectCon, 2 of them being front row shows, and then another local show that's 2 days. I'm gonna have to have a lot of stuff available. So like being able to do the number that was done this past weekend, as well as like being able to take a lot of stuff with me to make available at the later shows, it's a huge win for me. And I had a lot of fun. The way the tables were set up, just being an eye shot of like your friends that are at other tables, like it was a blast. And definitely looking forward to the next local show, and really, really excited to see the kind of vendor community continue to grow. And that's something I want to do moving forward more. I'm pretty bad about like keeping to myself, or sometimes coming off as like unapproachable. A lot of times it's because I'm tired. And that's not a great excuse, because I'm sure a lot of people would do like pull insane hours just to like get everything priced and prepped. But like, I don't know. I need to sleep more, I guess. So, man, maybe I'll try to work on that going into the rest of the year. All right, bye.